no-gi, people often choose not to go to the mount because there's quite a few less options in terms of submitting. Okay, you might find that side control, the back, these sorts of things are generally played a little bit more in no-gi, just because there's no collar chokes, there's a lot of that stuff that we don't have, and the grips as well. So let's go over a couple of things that we can do from this position here. Usually our opponent is going to have their arms protecting their neck or their elbows on the inside, these sorts of things here. They're not pushing us, they're not open. So we have to force things in this position. Okay, so what we're going to try and do here, we're going to try and just open up first of all to get a choke, and then we'll go through a couple of different options there. So it doesn't matter which side you choose, we're going to come around and we're going to try and wrap the head up. Okay, now this is good first of all because if we can get some shoulder pressure going here, it sort of eliminates some of his escape options, or slows them down at the very least. Okay, so we're going to come under the head here. We're just going to have our hand on the ground or on the shoulder for now as we start to put a little bit of shoulder pressure and pull. Okay, then we readjust and we're trying to get that there. Now I'm going to try and get my hand under and I'm going to start walking my hand up until it gets to the point where I can put my head behind it. Okay, once I'm in that position there, I go deep and I get my ear and I keep moving back and forth until his head is sort of, his arm is between the two of our heads. Okay, so I want it in this little gap here. I don't want it kind of up here somewhere like that. Okay, so we're in this position. We're getting our cross face, reaching for the shoulder, pull, readjust, pull, readjust. Now I need to be aware, he can bridge me that way. So this hand at this point is ready to go if I need to bridge me over there. So I've got that option there. Another thing at this point I can do to help is grapevine the far side leg. So now bridge me that way. See how weak he is? Yeah, if you grapevine the opposite leg to whichever way he can go, it makes his bridge really weak. Yeah, so if I know he can only bridge there because I've cross-faced him, then I know I only need to grapevine this leg. Whereas now, I have to do that to take away his bridge, because he can move. So we get cross-face here, shoulder pressure, we start adjusting, try to turn his head as we're pulling in. So now I'm going to walk, even if he's super tight in here, just start to use your body weight to flare that elbow and then come underneath. Now, walk, as you walk, push. As you walk, pull your shoulder, right? Yes. So I'm going up and up and up till I can get my head down in this position here. Now I use my head to get his arm trapped between the two of us. This is where a lot of people go, or not go wrong, but make a mistake with the head-arm triangle. They sort of get into this position here, they get their grip, they dismount however they do it, and they're squeezing, 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 and it's kind of like a neck crank, and they don't have enough pressure. Okay? Spend the extra time, once you get this position here, spend the extra 5 to 10 seconds, whatever's needed, to get this so tight that they're almost tapping in mount. A good head-arm triangle should feel like your head and your eyeballs are going to explode. It shouldn't be cranking your neck, and you should be able to finish without leaving mount almost. Okay, so by the time you hit the deck next to them, before you even walk up, they should already be ready to go. Okay, so once I get to this position here, I'm going to take my outside hand, pop it onto his shoulder blade, and I'm going to push him in as I go deep. Okay, and I do that as many times as I need to do until I feel like there's no more movement. Like, that's it. Then I'm just going to hold his shoulder here. Okay, so I've got this here. Now sometimes if you're super tight, it's almost enough to start putting pressure on. Okay, if it's not, I go tight again. Okay, now I'm going to get my grip. Now you can cut your knee across for that angle a couple of different ways. One, windshield wipe across the stomach and then sprawl down. Or some people you'll see will tripod up, cut the knee through the other way, like that. Doesn't really matter, personal preference, whatever you want to do. Okay. So, we're in here, come down, pull the head, wrap it up, whatever we need to do, pull him in, start to get my shoulder pressure. If that's tight, I start to lean. I can get my arm inside, flare his elbow, and now circle under. Okay. Start to lift, 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 head comes down, keep lifting with your head, keep pulling it up until it's under your ear. Okay, so not above your ear, you want his arm below your ear here, like that. Okay, now spend the extra couple of seconds. Push, get deep, push, get deep, control. Now, as you dismount here, you want to start looking in towards your opponent as you fall down. Okay, and now you might be able to squeeze and finish from there. You may need to adjust your grip, so you go like a bicep kind of a grip here, or you might grab the top of their head, the back of yours, doesn't matter. As long as it's tight, you'll be okay here. The more you walk this way as you squeeze, the more pressure you're going to get. Just in case you ever need to do it. Okay? So here, in mount, hard to get anything, there's no gi, no grips, he's tight. Come under, lift the head, grab the shoulder, pull him in as you start to get the crossface. Now if he's still tight here, wrist punches through, flare your elbow, and then circle underneath. Okay, because now he's weak. Walk, walk, walk. Head comes down. Okay, and I start now pushing that in. So I'm pushing his shoulder in as I push my arm through. I get my grip nice and tight, tripod, and then I dismount. As I flatten out, I'm already squeezing here to get the finish, or I keep walking to get more of an angle. If you'd like, you can change your grip however you want as well. Everyone good on that? Get stuck, so we'll go over that now. So imagine I've kind of started doing this, and there's a couple things that might happen. So as we get to here, they might do the answer the telephone type escape like that. Or even if before we even get to that point, so here I'm trying to flare, but he's trying to stay tight. If I can't even get all the way up, we'll go over a scenario that we can kind of do there as well. Since we just did the head arm triangle first, let's just go with that. So let's just say that we can get down here, we push, and I'm in this position, he does that defense there. Okay, this is quite often used like when they're in trouble. When it's not as tight, you'll find they frame with their other hand, they open up space, and then they'll get their arm around your head, and then there's no more escape. So as it gets tighter, you'll see this get used a little bit more. Okay, so we're in the same position, we're nice and deep. I'm going to try, now sometimes this doesn't work. If someone's got really good range of motion in their shoulders, this won't necessarily work. But it might help us, if it doesn't, to open up the original choke anyway. So what we're going to do from here, we're going to push in, and we're going to grab hold of their shoulder blade here. And we want our head tucked in really tight. Now my other hand that was holding, I'm going to reach for his wrist here, and I'm going to start to pull his his wrist out. Okay, so I need to keep my head and my shoulder locking his shoulder in place here. I feel for his wrist, I grab, and now I'm going to slightly twist it, and now I pull it out. And what I'm doing is basically an Americana, like that. Okay, so he's in this position here, and I'm doing that. Okay, so I ended up down here, walk, 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 pass it across. He knows it's deep, so he's sort of just holding on here, hoping that I burn out. Okay, so I'm going to push everything deep, lock his shoulder in place with my head and with this grip here. Now I search and I try to get my fingers in and I grab hold of that wrist. Now I'm going to rotate it slightly, push in with my head, and I pull that behind my head. So not like down here in front of your face, you actually want to pull it up there. Now if it comes up here and he tries to get it back in, I direct it across, and I go back to my choke anyway. Okay, so I take the pressure off. Yep. So I'm here, I get my grip, shoulder pressure, cross face. If I need, flare his elbow, walk, 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 walk. Starts to come up and he's like, oh, this is tight, I'll grab the phone. Here. Okay, so push everything in tight, hold onto his back, head attached, Other hand goes fingers on the inside. Now I rotate slightly like that. So I want to open his palm up, push in, drive. If I start to do this and he tries to straighten his arm back, I feed it across so that he can't get to the telephone escape. Now I'm super tight. And then I finish on the neck. Yep, let's just continue with this head arm triangle position while we're on it sort of thing. So we get head control, get deep on their shoulder so that we can pull into our shoulder and get that nice crossface. Here, if you have to adjust your crossface a few times, don't worry, that's fine. If you can't get your hand under to walk up because he's tight here, circle in, flare, and then circle back around. Okay, walk, 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 move your head out the way. Now, sometimes once you get into this position here, they may at some point here feel like, especially when you come off, they may try to roll onto their knees. It's kind of a last ditch escape because if he tries to roll and I'm too low, so roll away from me, here I won't go and it'll sort of almost tighten. But if he's lucky, if he gets the roll the right time, roll with your knees for me, as he comes up, if I hang on to it, I might actually lose the whole position. Okay, now knowing that that's a possibility, if we time it, we can take the back or finish them with an armbar instead, or even a choke. There's a couple options, so I'll go through all of them. So we end up here, again, cross face, get our shoulder pressure. If your shoulder pressure's on their throat, don't even worry, that's fine. Okay, here, I flare, walk my hand up. At this point, look, I move my head out the way so I get space. Okay, adjust this, spend the time to adjust. I'm starting to put my choke on. Now, in this position here, he may try to roll from here, from mount. Sometimes that'll happen. I can make him roll as well. So if I want to do these moves, I can force him to roll. So in that instance, what I do is I hold on to his back here. My free hand, as I lift, I'm going to start to push him onto his side and bring my knee up. Okay, now I'm going to do it again, but as I do it a second time, I'm going to step onto my other foot here and pull him in. Now I'm going to reach and I've got a seatbelt instead. Okay, so a couple of options you can do here. One, this sometimes doesn't work because it's sort of a bit of a pain type of move, but it still does choke. We're going to take our hand that's holding onto our own wrist, put it on the top side of his neck. So I was here, let's move back this way a little. Okay, so my hand here, I'm holding his wrist and my wrist. So from here, let go of mine, lift, and now I do a no-gi Ezekiel choke. Okay, so I can make a fist on the side of the neck or a blade, it's up to you. Pull and push, okay, or like that. Sometimes that doesn't work, okay? So here, say I don't want to do that, I'm going to lean over my leg here, open my elbow, and I use my elbow now to push his face down as my leg comes over. Come in, if he starts to defend like that. So this defense here, where he's got his bicep, and then he's got under my leg, that's the hardest one to get rid of. Because now I'm pulling against not only his own grip, but my own leg too. So what I'm going to do from there, if that's the issue, change my grip so that the hand closest to his head goes through as deep as you can get it, and I'm just going to hold on tight here. You can hold whatever here, it doesn't really matter. Some people hold on her own thigh, doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to start to put a little bit of pressure. My free hand just goes right under his elbow, and now I kind of just sit and I wait. I put enough pressure that he sort of has to readjust his grip. So I'm just going to sit here for however long it needs. And I just watch, and when he feels like he's going to readjust his grip, I just push. And I'm here. And then finish. Okay? So don't worry about like a million different fancy bloody grip breaks. If you think about it, if you're here, you don't need to worry about even breaking this grip. That's not stopping his arm going anywhere. All this, the only thing I need to do is break this grip here. Yeah, so when I put pressure here, that's it, that's all I need. I don't care if that's there. Yeah, and then boom. I fall towards his legs this way, which means it's harder for him to now come on top, it's harder for him to now roll away. If he manages to push this leg off, yeah, like that, I bring that one in front of his face instead. So now when he comes up, he doesn't come up. Then I finish. Okay, so people think, oh, well, yeah, but you know, you get to here and you break that and he's just going to push your leg off. So I go like this, boom, I just do that. Okay, and now he's stuck. Now he can't come up anyway because this is in his face, and then I've got the time to put that back over his head, and now his head's kind of like getting squashed. Yeah, and then, yeah. Trying to be a bit nicer. So I get my position here around the head, pull him in nice and deep so I can get my cross face. Weave my hand in if he's tight. I want to flare his elbow, then weave my hand under. Walk, 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 walk. Make space to pass across. Okay. Now in this position here, if he starts to roll, so just roll into your side to escape, I just let him. So I just loosen my grip enough that he can roll and I don't go anywhere. Okay. If he's not rolling in this position, I lift, I just push him, and I just keep pushing, bringing my knee in behind his back, so put your back on the floor. Yeah, see, that stops him going back. Okay, so that's got to be in tight. Now I come up onto my other foot, I get a seatbelt grip here. So the first one I can do, again, kind of a no-gi Ezekiel here, or I can keep my figure 4 grip, lean, lift my elbow, and then I push it under his face so he can't look at me. Okay, that stops him coming up on top as I do this. Now he's got that grip. Okay, so I change the hand, goes deep on the side of his head, grab my own thigh, start to put pressure, and now I just push his elbow off. Okay, if at this point he tries to push my leg to come on top, other leg goes in front of his face here. Okay, I drive, so come on top, I drive my shin into his neck, come right up. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, see, I hold him back with that. That gives me the time to here, bring this leg over, and now both of my legs are pinching on his neck like I'm trying to choke him almost. And then I finish. All good?